Hello and welcome back to Stop and Go F1 for this, our weekly news roundup as we get closer and closer to the start of the 2025 Formula 1 season. It has been a huge week for F1 news this week. We're going to look at everything that happened in Lewis Hamilton's first week at Ferrari. We also have the new FIA stewarding guidelines around swearing and saying opinions. We have new insights on the F175 event that's going to happen next month. We've got some news around Haas and some new players in Haas. How Gordon Ramsay is now in the world of F1, and also some behind-the-scenes news revolving around McLaren. All of that to come in this here video. It's going to be a big one. It's been a big week for news in Formula 1. Before we get into that, though, remember to like and subscribe. And a huge shout-out to our members, Dakota, The Joyous James, Roy Myers, and Cinnamon Strudel. If you want to become a member, click the link in the description down below. If you do become a member, if you become a Mansell Mustache member, I should say, you can watch loads of videos super early, including the video that will come out this Friday. You can watch that right now. New video came out on the channel last Friday, looking at the junior career of Gabriele Bortoleto and why I think he could be F1's next big thing. So watch that video. If you haven't already, watch that one after this one, of course, because we've got loads to talk about. The main thing to talk about this week, though, is this picture right here, which has set the internet alight already. F1's most liked picture on Instagram in the history of the world. Last time I checked, it was on like 5.4 million likes, but that was like a few days ago, so it could be closing in or passing 6 million as we sit here right now. But this was the first official image we saw of Lewis Hamilton as a Ferrari driver, dressed like a mob boss outside the former house of Enzo Ferrari himself. The Ferrari F40 in the corner as Lewis Hamilton's favourite Ferrari car, and just an overall classic. It's just an incredible car. You know, people have looked into this. People are going, there's 7 windows for 7 world titles, and the door is the door to the 8th. If you're into that kind of stuff, I'm sure you'll love that. For me, yeah, okay, if you say so, buddy. But yeah, overall, this was a wonderful image to wake up to on a Monday. This was a great way to start the week. It's already an iconic image. It really, really is. Even if, from now on, it goes dreadfully, we will have this, which is good. Even if Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari is comparable to Nigel Mansell at McLaren, we never got a picture like this from Nigel. So, you know, already a return on investment from Ferrari thus far. But that's not all that happened to Lewis Hamilton this week. No, he has been all over the place. So this was Monday. Also meeting, of course, with big Frederick Vasseur. And is that Montezemolo, or the big Ferrari boss? Luca de something or other. That's the one. Luca de Montezemolo. That sounds right. The big Ferrari boss, there he is. They're all meeting outside Enzo Ferrari's house, and then they went inside and had a little cup of coffee. Lovely. Lewis got to meet a lot of the team from behind the scenes. We saw him meeting people, shaking their hands. Then we saw the Ferrari official missile silo. My goodness, I thought. What are they planning? Surely that can't be within the FIA rules to fire missiles at enemy countries. Then I looked into it, and this is what is called an autoclave. An autoclave is an advanced sterilization device perfect for sterilizing a variety of materials. So, there you go. Apparently it's to do with carbon fibre. You learn something new every day. Then Lewis went back to shaking people's hands, and he also met with a lot of fans who were there on the Monday. A huge turnout for him, it seemed. Then, of course, he had a few test laps later on the Tuesday. Another huge turnout for that. Not an official event to turn out to, but people turned up nonetheless. Very passionate about this. Not only, though, is Lewis at Ferrari, we have Frederick Vasseur and Andrea Cullen. Was that her name? I'm going to check my notes. I'm sure it was Andrea Cullen. What's her name? Angela Cullen. My goodness, I'm so sorry. Angela Cullen, who we will recognise, of course, from Lewis's time at Mercedes, from many photos of Lewis riding a scooter while she holds everything. She did leave, though, a couple years back. I think it was 2022 or 2023. She left, but now has returned. So more question marks around why she left than why she'd returned, but here she is, the dynamic duo coming back together for this Ferrari stint. We also got a first look at Lewis Hamilton's first Ferrari helmet, going to that iconic yellow colour. The yellow colour has been synonymous with Lewis's helmets throughout a lot of his career. Of course, McLaren, for the majority of that time, he had that yellow helmet. Then going across to Mercedes, I think he started off with the yellow helmet there, then changed it up a little bit, went to purple, luminous green, but kind of yellow has been a colour that has been stuck with Lewis through a lot of his career in his helmet's designs. And of course, with Ferrari, their iconic colour is red, but in second place, it is the yellow. So it's a good choice, I think, to start with, because it's a colour that kind of is with them both in some ways, and it looks very good. And then, of course, the first photo of Lewis Hamilton in a Ferrari race suit. And you know what? I was thinking to myself before all this stuff came out, that a lot of the time when a driver moves teams, for like the first week or so, it's a bit weird, and then you get used to it. Like, the one that just came to my head whenever I think about this is when Pierre Gasly went from AlphaTauri to Alpine. For the first couple of days, I was like, oh, this is so strange. Then all of a sudden it was like, oh, no, it fits. With Lewis Hamilton, I don't know if it ever will. Because, we've had a week of this now, and we've had a year of people editing his head onto Ferrari drivers. It's still not right. It still isn't there. I mean, maybe after testing, after the first couple of race weekends, it'll feel a bit more normal. But I look at this, and it still feels like it's edited. I know it's not, but it still feels not right. And then, of course, from there, he actually got into the car for the first time. Here we're seeing with helmet and all, and then went out for a little bit of a drive. I believe this is the 23 car. I think he is testing the 2024 car in Barcelona soon. But yeah, there you go. Lewis Hamilton's first ever laps in a Ferrari car in the Ferrari factory test track thing. What's it called? Maranello. There. You know what I meant. But yeah, there's some insane images now. Just to see the 44, to see him in that car, this is something we're going to have to get used to incredibly quickly. But yeah, it's real now, guys. Here it is. Look, he's giving us a little wave there. How very polite. But yeah, this is it. Lewis Hamilton's first week in a Ferrari is done, and it has been a highly, highly successful one. Lots of people going mad for these photos, understandably. And yeah, it's going really rather well. Sorry for my computer going off there. I'm getting a WhatsApp message. But yeah, very good for Lewis Hamilton. Very good for Ferrari. We can sit here and discuss what we think the on-track results could be. And I promise you, we'll get to that at some point. Not today, because today is a day to just be happy for the Ferrari fans, be happy for the Lewis Hamilton fans, and be like, look, this combination is looking good thus far. Everyone in Formula One, my God, will people stop messaging me? I'm trying to be professional. Yeah, so far, everything going really well for Lewis Hamilton. But do you know who hasn't had a good week? It's the FIA. Because they've released this nonsense. So, we know that last year, they tried to clamp down on people swearing, especially Max Verstappen, who received some community service for saying some naughty words. Although, when other people said some naughty words, it was just a fine. And whenever people were told not to do a lap at the Brazilian Grand Prix because it was dangerous, and then they did a lap anyway, I think that was also a fine, which was apparently not as bad as saying a few naughty words. So from that, there was the letter, of course, from the GDPA going, please stop doing this. This is ridiculous. Also, can you give us some more standardised penalties for track limits, etc., etc. And the FIA have heard this and gone, oh, you want more standardised penalties, do you? We'll give you standardised penalties for swearing. And everyone's gone, no, that's not what we want. But that's what they've introduced. So here we have it, everyone. These are the new FIA rules around what people are allowed to say. So we have, these are regulation breaches. Any words, deeds, or writings that have caused moral injury or loss to the FIA, its bodies, its members, or its executive officers, and more generally of the interest of motorsport and the values defended by the FIA. Any misconduct is defined in Article 20 of the ISC. Any public indictment of violence or hatred. The general making and displaying of political, religious, and personal statements or comments, notably in violation of the general principle of neutrality promoted by the FIA under its statutes, unless previously approved in the writing by the FIA for the international competitions, or relevant ASN for national competitions within their jurisdiction. And then failure to comply with the instructions of the FIA regarding the appointment and participation of persons during official ceremonies at any competition counting towards an FIA championship. And there is a myriad of penalties here that you could get. On first offence, it is a €10,000 fine, unless, of course, it is a political or religious statement, where also you would need to make a public apology and take those comments back. Then we go up to a €20,000 fine, plus a 1-month suspension, which would be suspended. If you do it then for a third time, it's ranging fines from €30,000 to €45,000, plus a public apology and another ban. And you could also see championship points deducted from you here. This also, though, isn't the whole story, because these are the fines, but these are the fines like if you're in Formula 3. If you're in Formula 1, these punishments could be times 3. So if you, for example, make 3 political statements, you could be hit with like a €90,000 fine. You could have to make 3 different apologies. You could be banned for 3 months, and then you can see a lot of your championship points go away. Now, I've seen different people say different things about this. From what I've seen a lot of the time, most people think this is complete and utter rubbish, which I am in agreement with. I also saw Martin Brundle say, "You're a role model, you shouldn't swear." And he's an old man, so that's the opinion you would expect. But also, it's like, I can understand people don't like swearing. That's the thing, people don't like swearing. But this isn't about swearing. Look at it. This isn't about don't say naughty words at our press conferences. This is don't have an opinion. Don't say anything. This is censorship. That's exactly what this is. This is the FIA coming out and saying, we don't want you making political things anymore. We don't want you making religious things. We definitely do not want you saying that anything the FIA has ever done is wrong. My goodness, don't say that. That's what this is. This isn't about swearing. It's about censorship. And it's not on. This is not on at all. And the thing is, F1 have tried to do this before. In 1982, they tried to do this. They introduced this in the new drivers' contracts. There was more to it in 1982, because they also tried to introduce a thing where driver contracts would be discussed between teams, and the drivers would have no real input on where they were driving. But they also introduced a rule that it was illegal to speak out against F1 or the people who run F1. And the drivers didn't like it. And that led to that infamous driver strike in 1982. I think it was before the South African Grand Prix, where they all stayed in that one hotel ballroom. And then that led to the start of the GDPA and all that kind of stuff. And looking at this here, it's exactly the same. And it could end in exactly the same way, because you can't censor your drivers like this. If Martin Brundle wants to say, oh, they're role models, let them be role models then. Let them talk about the things that matter to them. Sebastian Vettel, when he was racing, he was talking all the time about, saving the world and climate change. He wouldn't be allowed to do that under this. Lewis Hamilton, always speaking about Black Lives Matter and those issues that matter to him. Under this, he can't do that anymore. That is how you're a role model. That is what people grab onto, and they should be allowed to do this. It's just utterly ridiculous that F1 and the FIA, well, it's not F1, it's the FIA, want to take away the freedom of speech of these drivers to talk about the things that matter to them. They're just like, right, just go drive in circles. That's what you're here for. Just go drive. It's like, no. These are human beings who have things to say. And it all comes down to one man, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, again and again and again, can't handle when people say that he hasn't done something right. I mean, the first time we ever really saw him talk ever was that one time people criticised him and he turned up drunk to the prize giving and berated everybody. Every time you hear his name in the news, it's him saying something stupid. His freedom of speech is still there. He's not being censored. He can say whatever the hell he likes. But anyone else, no. He does not want anyone saying anything political. No political connections for anyone. Just in case you've forgotten who Mohammed Ben Sulayem is, it's this man right here, Mohammed Ben Sulayem. He doesn't want any politics in F1. No politics whatsoever. I'm not sure who this is, whose hand he's shaking, but yeah, no politics to be put into F1 at all, under the orders of Mohammed Ben Sulayem. So there you go. This will not end well for him. This will not end well at all. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another driver's strike, because this is not on. You can't censor your athletes, your drivers, your sports people. You know, FIFA wouldn't do this, and they're the most corrupt people there is. They wouldn't come out and say, you can't talk, you know, so this will not end well. The sooner this man is out of the FIA, the better, because every time he opens his mouth, it is awful for everyone involved. Get him out. There we go, everyone. So we move on to some other news now, because we spoke about Lewis Hamilton's first week in F1. We've spoken about the new BS rules. Let's talk about F1 75, this big event that is coming to the O2 in February, mid-February. It's on a Tuesday, I believe. It's the 18th, something like that. And it's this big event to celebrate 75 years of Formula One, and the teams will unveil their new liveries for the season going ahead at this big event. There's been more details given out now on what we're going to see at that event. All 10 teams will be in attendance, and each have been given 7 minutes to make a mark by unveiling the car livery ahead of pre-season testing and the first race of the year. Each team will have a different idea on how to best stand out on the night. This is not a car launch, so some teams have opted to host their own events which will launch the car itself, but more about what the representative challenges will look like in terms of colours, sponsors, and other kinds of designs, and will bring the fans closer during a celebratory year. The teams who will stage those teams who will stage their most traditional solo events ahead are Williams, for example, who announced they'll do it on the 14th, they've been told their official racing livery must stay under wraps until the O2 event. So Williams are going to launch their car before the event with a different livery, then go to the event and launch their actual livery. So we'll see that there. Ferrari have also said, I think, that they're doing a car launch after the event, so we will see the actual Ferrari car before. The running order will be last season's Constructors' Championship in reverse, meaning we will start with Sauber and then end with McLaren. So a bit more information on what we have there. Every team has 7 minutes to do what they have to do, which means it will be an incredibly quick one. Which in a way I like, because we have seen car launches before where they just last forever and you're waiting ages to just see the car and then eventually it turns up. I remember with the Red Bull one from a couple of years ago, and it felt like it lasted like 2 or 3 hours of them talking to snowboarders and stuff before the actual car was revealed. So in a way I like the whole idea of you have 7 minutes. Do what you want with that 7 minutes, but you have 7 minutes. I do feel like 7 minutes is very quick, but you know, there's 10 teams to go through, so you've got like an hour and 10 minutes of car launches there right in front of you. So we'll see how it goes, but yeah, that's a bit more information on that. Let's talk about Haas quickly now, because they've revealed that this year Esteban Ocon's race engineer will be Laura Muller for 2025, who will become F1's first ever female race engineer. So that is big news coming from Haas. Yeah, so for the first time ever, we'll be hearing a woman's voice over the radio, unless you count Claire Williams or Manisha Kattenborn. Was that her name? The old Sauber boss? But yeah, first ever female race engineer, so congratulations to her, and best of luck going into the season. But who wants to talk about Gordon Ramsay, everyone? Because F1 has partnered with Gordon Ramsay to deliver a world-class culinary experience and premium hospitality in the F1 garage. Gordon Ramsay's kitchen will feature at 10 Grand Prix in 2025. Miami, Monaco, Montreal, Silverstone. They've written the word... I've just copied and pasted this. It says Monday. Okay. Austin, Mexico, Las Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. Gordon Ramsay will cook food for rich people. Breaking news. And then finally, Alessandro Aluni Bravi, who was one of the head guys at the Sauber team last year, has been replaced now by Jonathan Wheatley from Red Bull. He is making the move to McLaren, as he will join the team as their new Chief Business Affairs Officer from this year. So he still has a job, everyone, for those of you who are worried about Alessandro Aluni Bravi. Don't worry, he's fine. That's the news. A lot to get through. Got through it in just over 20 minutes. I hope you have enjoyed. As I said, video came out yesterday all about Gabriel Bortoleto. New video on Friday, and it's all about if the F1 2024 season happened, but in reverse. So that's coming out on Friday. Like I said, new videos every Friday on the channel between now and testing. There's more news to talk about. I'll be here next Friday to talk about it. Then we get into car launch and livery launch season, and of course, testing. Then the season will be here. So loads to come on the channel between now and then. So make sure you subscribe for all of that. Until then, though, have a good one. Until next time, I'll see you later. Goodbye.